Kababayan Today. It's Martin Luther King Day. It is a perfect time to talk about the hashtag Black Lives Matter. I'm sure you've seen in the news sa mga balita po, marami pong pinapatay ng mga itim na sasabihin ko sana kababayan natin, but they are our brothers and sisters, right? So pinapatay sila. I hear both sides of the coin. Ang mga tao sinasabi, why was he carrying a toy gun? He has no business carrying a toy gun in the park. The matter is, pinatay ang tao, tapos walang repercussion. Okay, so many cases are going on. Let's talk about it. Black Lives Matter. Why?
I think if you look at the U.S. today, there is no more segregation, there's no more slavery. People, and there's no explicit discrimination and employment based on race, explicit. People look at that and they say, oh, racism is over. There's no more, we are a colorblind society, we've achieved. But to say that would be making a huge mistake. Because what has happened is, over time, our white supremacist structure has become institutionalized. It's not as if, just to give you a couple examples, it's not as if people that 30 years ago would use the N-word on a day-to-day basis to describe someone that they disliked on the street. It's not as if they're gone. No, they're still living with us today, and they're going to think like that probably until their dying days. A lot of people have come to see the error of their ways, but a lot of them don't. Just give you one more example. This has manifested itself in wealth, in Americans' wealth. So, 40 years ago, if you were African American, you couldn't get a home loan. You couldn't buy a house. Fast forward now, white Americans were able to get home loans, they're able to buy houses, and that's why they are richer. I have a statistic here. The Pew Research Center reported in December 2014 that the median white household worth was $141,900, $12.9 times more than the typical black household, which is $11,000. Imagine that. Imagine that disparity in wealth. And it comes largely from something like housing. So, in other words, we think, and to an extent, although as we see with the Trump candidacy, overt racism is making a comeback. Those things 20 years ago you would not say in polite company or publicly, and now it's popular to say them again, and he might get the Republican nomination because of it. So that's making a comeback. But to think that overt racism being gone is the end of our problems, no. White supremacy has been institutionalized in our structures, and it still shapes us as a culture, as a polity, and as a people today.
Yeah. What can you say about Black Lives Matter, attorney?
Well, I think it's really difficult to talk about it. I mean, for me, in the beginning, I was very uncomfortable putting a hashtag Black Lives Matter because I'm thinking all lives should matter. And then I realized that if we drop the black from this equation of whose lives matter and you don't acknowledge why, you further that long time practice of devaluing black lives and their contributions to this society. And I felt as an ally and being, a victim of discrimination myself based on the color of my skin, that it's time not to be silent and it's time to just be courageous and say, you know what? I know it's just an IG hashtag for me, but it was like almost like a personal, like, I'm doing it. I'm doing something. Black Lives Matter. So, yeah, that's what I think it is. And there's so many black men dying, and they say, oh, well, it should just be all lives matter. That's understandable, but the topic is black lives right now. They are the ones in danger. They're the ones that are dying with no repercussions, like you said, in our court system, in the police. It's systematic. And it's almost, I feel like, what do we do? How do we fix this? Because it is so ingrained in the American fabric, like, of history, of culture. But I think if we all solidify and unify like we did back in civil rights movement, but in a 2016 model, we might be able to pull this off.
Yeah. As an artist, Mariela, how has Black Lives Matter affected your art and what you're doing in terms of, expressing yourself through your art?
It's because since my art is based on social media, Black Lives Matter actually came up through social media. I was on my blog, and all of a sudden you just see hashtag Black Lives Matter. And I think, as she was saying, we all need to come together. That's what our generation needs to do. The younger generations need to get more involved. We need to start speaking, and I think that's what the hashtag did. So since a lot of people, I have many races who look up to my art because these are people that we look up to, rappers, artists, but we also need to see that, these are black men. You know, there's white people who are racist, but they're so easy to listen to Tupac and listen to. Tupac was a poet. You know, he was an advocate for minority rights and black rights. And a lot of people kind of just look past that, and they need to realize what's the message behind it. You know, Kendrick Lamar, he really stands with Black Lives Matters, and all these kids need to become an ally. They need to see what we're fighting for, what they're fighting for, and just look past the music. You know, we need to see what's going on.
Right, we need to join arms, right?
Correct.
Okay, when we return here on Kababayan Today, we're going to challenge all of you to be a part of this movement. We'll be right back.